What is up, everybody? Luke Film Boss here, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Hunger Games: Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes. At first, I wasn't quite sure how I would rate Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes, or how I would compare it to the other films in the Hunger Games franchise. I knew that I thought it was good, but I didn't realize quite how good this movie is until I really sat down and thought about it, and now I'm happy to report that Francis Lawrence brought Suzanne Collins' novel to life in this great Hunger Games film. That's right, Ballad of the Songbirds and the Snakes is the best Hunger Games film we've gotten in a decade since Catching Fire came out in 2013. Tom Blyth and Rachel Zegler give fantastic performances as Lucy Gray and Coriolanus Snow. I don't know a whole lot about Tom Blyth, but I know that based on this movie, he's a really good actor. I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for more movies with him in it, and I just want to give him a big shout out for really capturing Snow in this, from a Snow that's a little bit naive. He's poor. He's just trying to make a way for him and his family, and how he slowly, became the man that we know as, President Snow. And it's a very sad story, but it's a very, very real story. And I think it's almost important, and I'll get more into that later. But this is going to be pretty much a spoiler-free review. I don't want to get too much into the plot. I'm mostly going to go into the performances and kind of the messaging behind it. And I'll let the plot unfold as you watch this movie if you so choose to. But yeah, Tom Blyth did a great job capturing the transformation of Snow. Lucy Gray, played by Rachel Zegler, just might be my favorite character in the whole movie. She's very strong-willed but vulnerable. She's sassy, but she also is sweet and compassionate. And there's just a lot of good elements. And I like how it balances the strong characteristics with the flaws. And it's just a very, very well-written character. Kudos to Suzanne Collins. I have not read the book because I actually wanted to watch the movie before so that the movie was more surprising. That's how I watched the other Hunger Games films, and then I read the books, and they were really good. Same case here. I didn't want the plot to be spoiled already, so I went into this movie free of knowing any of the plot or the characters, and I just fell in love with the whole story. It's just really good. Rachel Zegler is a fantastic actress, and I'm kind of sad to see how much backlash her Snow White movie is getting, and the sort of silly, dumb things that she said in her interviews definitely have not been helping her. I'm hoping that she can make a comeback and come out of that, because so far her career has been decent. I don't think that she has done a bad job of acting. In fact, she's had a solid career so far. She had a very good role as Maria in West Side Story, directed by Steven Spielberg, and I think it was 2021. And that movie was just fantastic, but it didn't do very well at the box office. I think that she honestly deserved to be nominated for an Oscar in that role. I think she was that good. And then she had Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Massive disappointment, disaster at the box office. It didn't go well with critics. I liked the film, and I liked her performance in that film, but it did not go well for her. And now here we are at the Hunger Games, and I'm glad that this movie is making a comeback at the box office, and it's doing pretty well critically. So I'm hoping that this is able to generate a little bit of heat for her career, because Rachel Zegler I just like her as an actress. Maybe if I found out more about her as a person, maybe I wouldn't feel the same way, but I tend to separate the art from the artist. So while maybe Rachel Zegler isn't the best person, and based on what I've seen, she's not like a terrible person. She's not some Amber Heard. Even in her interviews, she's not as snarky and bad as Brie Larson was when Captain Marvel came out. She's just kind of young and says some dumb things. In her own mind, she's doing what she thinks is going to get fans to like her, and it's been not working out. So she needs to definitely work out all of that. But yeah, she does a fantastic job in this movie, and she's a great actress. She has a lot of range. I'm just glad that this movie is kind of doing well. I also have to give a huge shout out to some of the more aged actors in this movie, Viola Davis and Peter Dinklage. They have a lot of experience, and they're doing well in their careers. They just do a fantastic job. Like, once again, they know what they're doing. They've been at this a long time, and their characters kind of play this somewhat antagonistic role, but they're also not main antagonists. There's not really one main character who's an antagonist in this movie. It's more just seeing how everybody kind of can be an antagonist, and I'll get into that. But yeah, to all of the other young talent that's in this movie, and maybe also any talent that had somewhat of a significant role, there's a lot of extras. They all did really good. Like, across the board, it's a very solid movie. Visuals, acting, the plot, and all that. It's all good stuff. The makeup, visual effects, especially considering that this is a very cheap movie to make. It's like $100 million budget film, which, even compared to most of the Hunger Games films, is fairly cheap. Now I'm going to get into the story. I just thought that the story was great. I'm mainly going to try to focus on the themes that this movie presents, but to do that, I do have to explain a little bit of the context of the plot. So this is a very early Panem. The Hunger Games are very different in this movie than they have been in the other films. It's a very early stage in the creation of the Hunger Games. It's like the 10th year, and the Capitol, the president, are kind of thinking about shutting the games down. The viewership has been low. There's a lot of things at play here that are kind of working against the Hunger Games, but are also working towards it. And it's really, this is the year that decided whether or not the Hunger Games were going to be a big part of Panem. And it's interesting to see what happens. So they basically, the game makers recruit these young people to try to get more people to watch the Hunger Games by mentoring their tributes. They're assigned to a tribute, and then they're supposed to mentor them and kind of make them a spectacle to get people to watch. And it's interesting to see how the different students react with the different tributes and how the tributes react to them. And it causes a lot of drama. It causes a lot of suspense. But it also allows for Snow to meet Lucy Gray. And that just starts this whole thing in motion. And it's just a wild ride from start to finish. Very, very interesting. A lot of deep things are going on at play. Lucy Gray's character is not even originally from the districts, but she was kidnapped and forced into District 12, and then she was reaped. The music, Lucy Gray is like a musician, and she writes her own songs. Once again, I don't want to spoil it. So, but yeah, she has some very good moments, and music is very heavily involved with her character and with a lot of emotional moments. And then you have Snow, who is trying to put on this good face, but in reality he's in poverty. He's trying to save his family from poverty and give his family name a better reputation that they kind of lost due to his father. And it's very interesting to see how he's doing everything he can to help himself and help his family, but he also wants to help Lucy. And by helping Lucy, he's also helping himself. And at first he has very good intentions, but then throughout the movie you kind of see his slow decay into the man that he becomes. He realizes how bad the world can be. Even though he already saw the ugly side of the world, he sees more of it. And he essentially sees how brutal and messed up the world is. While Lucy Gray is kind of on the other end, where she's seeing the good in everything. And then she has to realize that not everything is good. I was worried at first that this movie was going to lean too much into the goodness of humans, or that it was going to lean too much into the evil of humans. And I think that because Lucy Gray and Snow are kind of two sides of the coin, it balances it out very well. Pretty much the message here is the flaws and the evil of human nature. And once again, Lucy Gray is there to balance it by that there is a goodness in us. Now, sure, it doesn't explain that that goodness comes from a higher power. It comes from God. It comes from, his tugging in our hearts and minds, which is our conscience. But I think that it's good that they do make note that, yes, humans are inherently evil, but there is a goodness there that kind of keeps us in check, and we can choose to defile our conscience and step into evil, or we can choose to do good. And once again, it's not all black and white. Yes, sometimes we're going to choose to do wrong, or maybe just make a choice that ends up being the wrong choice, even though we meant it for good. And then sometimes we'll make a choice that we just do entirely because of the evil nature. And it's a very, very sobering film. It's a very heavy film, But I think, the head game maker, the character that Viola Davis plays, she's not entirely wrong. Her whole motive and agenda for trying to keep the Hunger Games is because she sees human beings as these uncontrollable animals who just act on their, instincts to survive. And then you have all the other people that have a little bit more sentimental values, a little bit more compassion, a little bit more heart in them, where they do see people as valuable and as precious, where she just sees them as obstacles and as, vicious monsters. And so, once again, there's those two sides that are kind of at war with each other. I think I said that Snow and Lucy are the two sides of the coin, when in reality, it's more so the head game maker and Lucy that are the two sides of the coin, and Snow is caught in the middle of them. He's trying to figure out which one he fits into, and it's through betrayal, it's through hurt that he ends up choosing the wrong side, which is, the evil side, the side of the coin that the Hunger Games falls on, where he sees the Hunger Games as a good thing, as a necessity, as something to keep people in check, as something to keep himself from being in danger, something to help his family. He sees the Hunger Games in the end as a necessity because the whole world is just a giant game and he needs to be the victor. It's just, once again, it's a very sad story. A wild ride, a very powerful, emotional story that showcases good and evil and puts it in check. It's this struggle of humanity is choose to do wrong or choose to do right. It's a sad story because it shows the ugly side of the world. The Hunger Games, what Snow becomes, the game makers, it all represents what happens when we choose evil, which is what Lucy Gray was trying to get away from. And even she realized that she couldn't be perfect. She couldn't be this perfect good person, even though she tried. She had regrets about some of the things she did, but she continued to strive to be good, while Snow, on the other hand, fell into this self-absorbed quest for self-satisfaction. So yeah, The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes is a fantastic film. I give it a 90% in quality, a 91% in enjoyment, for an overall score of 90.5%. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to help you be on the lookout for more videos from Luke Film Boss. Bye.